Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go over where to start and which panel to work on if it's your first time wrapping. To jump right into it, you can see I've already done some prep work, which I'll explain in a bit, but I always recommend starting with the fender. Now, it doesn't matter which fender, it could be driver's side, could be passenger side, but if you're a beginner, if you've never done this before, I highly recommend start with the fender. Why? Because the fender is much easier to glass out with vinyl than either the hood or the roof or any other horizontal surface. If you're not a beginner, if you're someone who's been doing this a while, typically you're going to start with the hood or the roof. And the reason for that is you want to work from top down. Why do you want to work from top down? Because if this is wrapped and now I want to wrap this, I might bump into it. If I have a tool pouch, I could scrape it. So it's just something extra to think about. But for a beginner, that doesn't matter. All you're focused on as a beginner is your technique. The technique to do the hood is more difficult than the fender, in my opinion, because gravity holds the vinyl down. So if I want to pick this up to glass it out, gravity is going to hold the vinyl down. I need more force, I need to spread my hands out more, and I really got to pick it up when I stretch it to avoid sanding over these high areas. The fender, you don't have to worry about that. So it's a good place to practice your technique as a beginner, especially as someone who's never done this before. When you go to glass this out, you can pick it up this way, and there's no gravity holding it against the panel to prevent you from glassing it out or squeegeeing it down easily. But before you can start wrapping, you need to prep the vehicle like I mentioned before. I like to use wheel covers because they trap all the dirt, sand, and rocks in the tires and help to maintain a clean workspace. Next, you'll want to tape off any potential problem areas. In this case, that was just the headlight because the gap between the fender and the headlight was very narrow and I didn't want to scratch the headlight when trimming. If you're really nervous about scratching anything, you can tape off every adjacent panel. So that would be the hood, the door, and the bumper, but it's really not necessary. Finally, you need to clean the entire panel with 70% isopropyl alcohol. Make sure you also clean the edges and in fact do multiple passes on the edges because you really don't want that vinyl to lift up. To cut out the piece of vinyl we're going to use, we need to find the edge of the panel and go 3 inches past that. But the important thing to remember is you need to find the furthest point of the panel. And this door gap is not it. If we back up, look at the bottom down here and the top. See, there's a bend in this. So this is not the furthest point. It's either this one or this one. So I'm going to go with the top. Then you take your measuring tape, and I'm using a soft tape. You can use a hard one, but I'm using a soft one to not scratch the surface. So we put our 3 inches on the opposite side, lay it out there. So our starting point is all the way over here. This is just actually a hack I use. I put tape because sometimes these fall back into the measuring tape, but this prevents that and it's something to hold on to. Besides the point. Anyways, we're going to start here. Okay, we have our 3 inches there. We hold this down and then we just go all the way. Then we keep going all the way to the corner. It's about 56 inches plus our 3 inches because we always want excess material hanging over the edge. So 56 plus 3 is 59 inches in width for this piece. Now we're going to do the same thing for the height. We find our highest point, put the 3 there, then we come all the way down. It's about 42.5 down here, plus 3 would be 45.5 inches for the height. We have our vinyl cut out and we're going to hold it against the panel while we make some finishing touches and make sure the placement's good. But we're going to be using felt magnets. It's important that you get the felt ones because you don't want to damage the surface of the vinyl or even damage the paint that the magnet is touching. You always want to put 2 magnets because with 1 magnet, it can pivot. If you put 2, it can't pivot. It stays locked in place. So always use 2. Then we're going to unroll this. And I can see there it's short, but we can make that adjustment. So come to here. And now it's okay if I put 1 magnet on this side because together that's 3, so it won't pivot on me. If I'm looking here, I can feel the gap in the door. I have quite a bit extra, so I'm not worried about that. This side's falling down a bit. So I'll get this magnet and we can put it up here so it won't flap down. I have plenty of extra up here. I also have plenty of length this way. Plenty of length there. Plenty, maybe not plenty, but I do have some length here. And everything's looking good. So this is not a problem at all. If we leave it like this, yes, it's possible to wrap, but it will be more difficult because look at all the extra vinyl. I mean, the fender ends right here. So all of this is extra. Now, not only is that going to make the job more difficult, but also if we have like a mirror or a fender flare or something that requires an extra piece of vinyl, we can get it out of this piece. So this is just an efficient way to manage your inventory or your vinyl. We're going to cut this out. You don't have to be precise, obviously. I leave a lot extra because I get nervous if something shifts on me. So I know the fender ends here, and I'm cutting all the way in here. That's just me because I get scared, and I don't want to be, it's better to be long than short. That's how I view it. Because if you're short, there's nothing you can do. Right? So I'm just feeling, okay, it's right there. I'll come over here. I'm just feeling, so I don't know if that's picking up on camera. You can see where the fender is. So I'm just feeling for that. Keep going. Now I got to find the line that joins the bumper. And that, I think, is somewhere. We can look for it. Oh, it's right here. So it's all the way up there. I can feel that point right here. So I'm going to go way below it down here. Okay. And we have plenty of extra space. Because the vinyl goes further past this edge than it does on this edge, I'm going to start here when I unroll the vinyl. I want to get this properly tacked down. And because I have extra over here, I have more room to play with to make sure that we get full coverage on both corners. So I'll pick this up. Okay, I'm just gonna basically tack it down. And now you want to roll the backing paper. So this antenna's a bit in the way, but just, you can feel what the backing paper wants to do. So I'm just pulling it, and we're gonna pull down, 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 keep going, keep going, keep going. I think I'm blocking the camera. Try and get out of the way, keep going. So this is where it stops. Now, we can go here, and then hopefully we're able to grab it behind, which we can, to loosen it up. And this is the corner that I really want to get tacked down. And I made it perfectly. So I'm going to bring this down here, just to hold that. And now, we can unroll. So grab here, and just continue to unroll. Nice and smoothly. Keep going, go, 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 go. So I've hit the magnet, it's stuck. I need to pick this up, put it here for a split second. Grab the vinyl, go, 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 go. Done. Unrolling the vinyl is actually a lot more difficult than it seems. Because you don't want to get creases or anything in it. But it's just practice, just feel. Basically, don't fight the backing paper. When it's rolling, let it roll. Okay, now we're going to glass this out. This is what I was saying before. It's easier to do it because it's not vertical. Or, sorry, it's easier to do it because it is vertical. It's not horizontal. There's no gravity holding it down. So, I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to switch. So my second magnet is over here. Again, we don't want it to pivot. Pick this up as well. And now, have one hand at the top, one hand at the bottom. Lift it up. See, the magnet stuck it down there. Lift it up, lift it up, lift it up. Look how easy that comes up because there's no gravity. Pulling it tight. I'm pulling my hands apart as I'm pulling towards me. And then we'll put it down. Okay, and then we'll look at it. So we read the wrinkles. Now, obviously, it's bunched up here. So how are we going to fix that? We'll grab here and separate the wrinkles. So now I'll pull my hands apart this way, and look at that. We can separate them. So my hand's hitting the tire, but it's okay. Done. Up here, we can do the same thing. Pull those wrinkles. We have a wrinkle here. We're going to pull up. Pop it out. There we go. Pull. So we should be able to get that out with our glove or a squeegee. Pull this down. Now we got to manage the wrinkles over here. We can pretty much remove the magnets now because it's held down pretty good by its own strength. Actually, I want to try and get that wrinkle out now just with my glove just to make sure it's not a problem. Yeah, it's not a problem. There we go. Just making me nervous there. Okay, so now we got to clean up this area. So we'll lift this up here. lift up where the magnet was. Again, separate your hands, pulling apart and pulling towards me really hard. Okay, put it down there. So we have wrinkles going like this. We need to pull them down. Pick up the vinyl like this and pull down. Look, disappear. We have wrinkles here. They're bunched up, so we can pick up a little bit on the corner. Not too much. We don't want to get a glue line. And then separate. Separate here too. Okay, and the little wrinkles at the edge, we can fix that. But this is glassed, right? Look, you can pretty much see the panel without any major wrinkles in it. That's what you're going for. Next thing we need is an anchor point. So basically the point where we're gonna tack it down and we're gonna work up from that point and down from that point. I like to pick a high body line, which is right here. So if I tack this down, and I typically use my glove for this, for anchoring, tack it down like that. I come over here, all the way across, and tack it down. We have some wrinkles here, but that's okay. Those will easily come out. We pick it up a little bit, just like that. You know, you can flatten them out with your glove, or you can use a squeegee to get those big ones out. It might seem a little nerve-wracking at the beginning, but that'll come out no problem. Now, we get our squeegee, and we can start tackling all of this. So, just laying it in, laying it in. It also helps to lift up a bit, and then you can squeegee down much easier. Now, obviously, this has a lot of damage to the panel. Again, this is our $750 truck. There you go, just like that, and then you can squeegee, no problem. On curved surfaces like this, that antenna, it's more difficult with a squeegee, obviously. So maybe you feel better palming it. That's a more advanced technique. I would typically, if it was me, honestly, I'd probably just use my glove here because my hand can adapt to the contours, but it's up to you. It's good to practice with your squeegee like that. So we can tackle that after. We're gonna come across here for this anchor point, and actually we might just stop here because this is all gonna have to get worked together. Yeah, see? So I don't know if you noticed that when I go backwards, the vinyl didn't like it. It likes to go this way. You just have to get a feel for which direction the vinyl wants to go. Okay, some extra air here. Okay. So now we just do the rest. For this section, use overlapping strokes with your squeegee and work towards the edges of the panel to ensure you get all the trapped air. For complex curves and tight areas, don't be afraid to use a glove. It's also critical to hold the squeegee at the correct angle to avoid scratching the vinyl. Okay, now, I don't want to do this part first because I still have some above it. So I really want to, again, you want to work middle out. So middle up and then middle left and right. So I come this way. Again, big contour here. I'm going to use my glove to get in here. Get it all down. There we go. Not bad. Then it's getting flatter, so I'll take my squeegee. Still pretty contoured, actually. And some tension. So we'll lift this up. And I don't know if I'm in the way. Try and get out of the way. The flat part here we can squeegee. Look at that. No problem. Here we got a contour. So we'll use the glove. Some air left behind, but no big deal. Come this way. Okay. Come up here. Lift this. Get over this big curve here. Good. Now the antenna is getting in the way here. But for now, I don't think we need to cut it. Come to this corner now. And again, we can just pick this up. Just a little bit there, see? Tiny bit. Like that. And then we have a little bit here left, a couple more wrinkles. You can easily just separate this, you know, pick it up a tiny bit. just like that, and work them apart. We're gonna go this way with this one, and left with the other one. Okay, done. Now it's time to cut. This is what it should look like right before you start trimming. Everything's glassed out, all the air is out, and you can easily see where the edges of the panel are. Before you actually start cutting, you want to blast everything with heat to see if you've overstretched anything and if the vinyl is going to pull back on you. So we'll put our heat gun on a very hot setting. We'll start here. We're just going to tack that there. There wasn't much stretch here, so not much movement, and I don't think there will be. We've heated everything up, and we know it's not going to shrink on us. Now the last thing before we start cutting, you lift this up a bit, just back to the gap there, just like that. And then we're going to tuck it in just a little with our squeegee to make sure that we have enough room, or we have enough vinyl, I should say. This is going to be a little difficult to do as I hold the camera with one hand and cut with the other. But what you want to do is place this back of your blade, which is this part here, this side, against the adjacent panel. So I'm going to tuck it in there. I'm in the gap. Sorry, my film skills here. Put it in. I'm going to rest the blade, and I'm just going to glide it along all the way down. Keep going, keep going. Let's go all the way down. Now, peel all this up. And I didn't go to the very corner because the corner requires special trimming. So I'm going to save that to the end. I'm going to go to about here. Basically, the theory or the technique is stretch this vinyl around the corner, right? So you're going to stretch it. And then when you heat it, it'll shrink and hug the corner. That's the technique. So we pick this up. We're going to try not to get my hands away. Basically, I'm going to pull apart like that and try and push the vinyl, hook it around that corner. Now, it's easier if I trim this, but I don't want to be short. That's the main thing. You really don't want to be short. So if I come up like this, I think I'll be okay. So now spread our fingers out like this, and we'll tuck the vinyl behind there. I think I could open this door too and help me. So we spread our fingers and then hook that vinyl around. So now when we hit this with heat, it should stay. Blast with heat, and look, you can see the vinyl pulling down behind. And you can see, look, it's a nice clean corner there. Before I go in with my squeegee, I like to kind of just get my nail wrapped around it. So I'm just kind of hooking the edge of my thumb right there, just around the edge. So kind of get that first part down. No, you're not gonna be able to see down here, but it's the same process. Then you get your squeegee, get the side without the buffer, and you can tuck it in that way. Oops. To make sure you get enough. I'm gonna trim this corner now, and it's kind of tough on the angle I'm on, but like I said, I don't want to tuck all this behind, just enough that it's covered. We have full coverage, right? So I'm gonna put my blade behind here and then just cut like that. But I don't want to get in front of the camera. I mean, I can't really see what I'm doing from this angle, but I know that's gonna be coverage because of the technique. So there, cut that, and you have full coverage. Looks really clean. The vinyl is shrunk around that corner, and that's not going to peel up. Let's move on to the area next to the hood. Similar to between the fender and the door, I'm going to tuck this in, and I'm purposely doing it this way to show you the difference between a different way to do it. Just tuck this in. I'm aware that this is going to create a problem, but I want you to see what that problem is. So this is intentional. I'm not that clueless. Well, maybe I am, but I like to think I'm not. So now, same technique for cutting. We're going to get our blade. This time, instead of the back of the blade was this side over there, now because I'm cutting in this gap, the back of the blade will be the opposite side because it has to be on the adjacent panel. So we'll start just in the middle so the camera can see. We'll start here. Doesn't really matter. Put my back of the blade against the hood. And I'm just going to come down this way. Okay, pull this up. Now I'm going to lift the hood up and you'll see the potential issue. Once you go to lay this down, this is going to be the problem. So forget the corner because that's going to be a separate issue as well. Use our finger here. Okay, I'm just going to lay this down. The first issue is we've only tucked in that far. So now when I close the hood, now look, with the flash on, you can see a bunch of gray in there. You could see that line in there where the wrap ends. So this is the danger on the hood of cutting on the adjacent panel. If this is a white truck or a white vehicle, that paint in there will be super visible and it will ruin the overall look of the wrap. So how can you clean this up so it looks more professional? Instead of trimming like I just did, you can run knifeless tape. See this body line here? Run knifeless tape there. Bring the wrap in much further, so you're going to have to open the hood, obviously, to tuck the vinyl in. You pull the knifeless tape, and then none of this will be visible through the hood. The other danger of just trimming against the hood is not having that much extra vinyl here to do this corner. Now, this is enough, obviously, but for a beginner, you probably want more to grab onto to really hook it around this corner. We're just going to trim all of this extra stuff away first. So, and we put that tape down as our safeguard to not cut the light, but that shouldn't really be an issue. So still leaving a lot of excess. Just trying to get rid of all the major extra vinyl. There we go. And this, careful not to cut the paint there. Boom. Spread it out. Tuck underneath. Hook it there. You can push that down a little bit. And then now I'm going to hit that with some heat so it shrinks around the corner. So you can see that. Vinyl's hugging it nicely. Get rid of that. And now for this part, I can kind of tuck this in. If I lift this off the light, I can tuck this in here and give that a trim while I'm at it. Oops. There we go. Sorry for hitting the camera there. And cutting all in there. So now I can peel this for now. I have to clean up that cut, obviously. Don't worry about this. This is the clear coat peeling underneath. But look at that corner. Nice and clean. No weird edges hanging out. Looks very solid. Here is the silver I was talking about, which does not look very good. So that's why I recommend not cutting against the hood. To finish up around the headlight, it's just repeating the same trimming techniques as before. Partially tuck the vinyl in, place the outside edge of your blade against the adjacent panel, and cut. Once you have a clean cut, tuck in the remaining vinyl to seal the edge. Repeat this for the gap next to the bumper as well. For the wheel well, you are going to have to feel this out because you need to use heat. So right there, see that's a lot of tension. So you just got to get used to feeling how much tension the vinyl can take. So I'm going to heat this up a bit. And we don't want to overstretch it, right? So we're just going to try and tuck and see how much stretch the vinyl really needs, how much it could take. And I need my glove. So right now it's not too bad, but we don't have to go in a lot, like at all. Yeah, so I can trim a lot of this out. Give us a sort of a relief. Some cars have much bigger fenders that you need to wrap around. This one seemingly doesn't because of the liner. Be careful when trimming the wheel well, especially if you leave the fender liner attached. There are often holes or cutouts in the liner, and it will be very noticeable if you cut the vinyl too short. Leave about a 1/4 inch of vinyl to tuck in, and if you notice there's too much excess, you can always go over it one more time to clean it up. And that's it. The quarter panel is completely wrapped. See that dent right in the middle there, though? Right there. Again, always highlighting that vinyl wrap does not hide anything. But look at that, guys. It's as simple as that. That's it for today's video, and thanks for watching.